Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to Female Filmmakers Fuse with Alexa Polar and Robin Pabello, only on LA Talk Radio.
Thank you for tuning in. This is Female Filmmakers Fuse. I'm your host, Alexa Polar, with
Robin Pabello. Happy Sunday.
Robin Pabello, you crazy, crazy woman who... We're here at the podcast. We're obviously live. Robin just got back from running a half marathon.
Woohoo!
You woke up at what time, Robin?
I woke up at 4.
And it wasn't even for filming. It was for running.
Yes. I ran in place for my cousin. She had hurt her foot on the last one. And she was just like, I don't know anyone that would run for me. And I was like, I mean, I'll do it. How far is it? I was like,
You thought it was like a 5K, 10K?
Well, okay. So I'd never done anything. So I just run with my puppy for 3-4 miles on the beach a couple times a week. So, that's training, right? For pleasure.
So, okay, wait a minute. So you didn't even train for this?
No.
When did she ask you to do this?
I don't know, like a week ago.
A week? Wow.
No,
Okay.
I don't remember. Anyways, regardless of it, I'm safe. I'm not cramping.
Why?
My foot's cramping just a little bit, but that's from a previous injury. And I ran my first half marathon.
And
I should
can you
emphasize.
please let's just for bragging rights.
Bragging.
Let's what was your time?
So I ran 13 miles in 2 hours and 42 minutes and 3 seconds.
Okay, this is her first half marathon without training.
And it'll probably be my last.
That was really good. I
don't-
doubt it.
listen,
I think you
no.
want the whale.
No. I do, but it's not under my name. So
Okay.
regardless of it, my dad, so backstory, my dad ran marathons all my life, which I hated because I was the one that was training with him as a kid. I'd have to run on Manhattan Beach, boardwalk to Redondo and Hermosa. And it was torture as a child because I was just oh my God.
So you were basically training since you were a kid.
Yes, and it sucked. So I roller skated 26 miles. I've ran 26 miles. I've jogged 26 miles. I've biked 26 miles. And all the time I was just Dad, I hate you right now. I hate running. Why am I doing this?
But you made it to the finish line. So today.
Oh, yeah. I'm so competitive. If you don't know that I'm super competitive,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what sport it is.
Way too competitive. It doesn't even
Hey.
have to be a sport, to be honest.
It runs in my blood. It's
It's-
that sassy Filipina in me.
So let's get this going because this is not about marathon running, but big ups to you. If you want to call in, 818-602-4929. Again, that number is 818-602-4929. I'm really, really happy to have our special guest here today because it's the first time we have someone in the sound department. That is awesome. Alexandra Parral. Let me put the microphone. Maybe I got the wrong one. There we go. Okay.
Parral.
There we go. She's right there.
Yes.
It's first time having a sound lady,
Yes.
sound girl as a guest. So I'm really excited about that because we have a lot of directors, writers, a couple DPs, whatnot. So this is really cool for us. This is a treat. First of all, really nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too.
How long have you been in sound? What do you call it? Because I'm always getting confused. Would you call yourself do you do boom operating, sound mixing? Is there a difference? Because I'm not savvy when it comes to that.
Well, I'm a sound mixer,
Okay.
and depending of the gig, you could boom also,
Okay.
or you could be utility, you help the sound mixer.
Okay.
Like in big shows, you have the sound mixer, you have the assistant, the one that helps
Okay.
him, and then you have the boom operator or many boom operators,
Okay.
depending. Yeah.
I turned you off. I shut Robin up right there.
That was a mute button.
Sorry.
Robin.
Yes, so I'm a sound mixer, and usually I work by myself. And I do mainly I do documentaries, interviews, web shows, short films, or independent films.
Okay.
I have done this like for about 4 years professionally.
Okay.
But I did it in college a little bit, and yeah.
That's awesome. Because we talked just briefly
Yes.
when you here at the show at the studio, you were born in San Diego.
Yes, I was born in San Diego and then raised in Tecate, Baja California, Mexico.
Mexico. So you're very prideful.
I am very Mexican.
You're-
But
And it's
Mexican
Cinco de
from-
Mayo.
And
Yeah.
it's Cinco de Mayo,
In
which-
America.
In America.
Yeah. Like I'm very Mexican in the sense of like I was raised there, I live there, and I love Mexico. I loved it a lot.
Okay.
But then when I was 16, in Mexico, when teachers don't get paid, they stop working. So I was in high school there,
Okay.
and then they stopped working, and then I was getting behind. And my parents were like, well, you were born there, so why don't you go there and study high school there so you learn English? So the English you hear now is from when I was 16. Well,
Oh.
I started learning English when I was 16.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's
And
not
I'm
bad.
28 now.
Okay.
so,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. That's not too bad. I was born in Peru, and I came here when I was 7 months old. So the English that you're hearing is
It's from all the time.
from all the
So
time.
I was born in Inglewood, California. So, this California accent that you hear is what it is.
Wait, you have the vocal fry?
Huh?
The vocal fry when people are like,
What is that?
it's a thing that nobody notices except sound mixers.
Really?
Oh,
Okay.
wait.
Oh, wait a minute. No.
Oh no.
This is a little
Okay,
insight. What is
No,
this?
because there's like certain words and slangs, and there's certain pauses that Californians do speak.
What's
and
that?
and I know exactly what she's talking about.
Yeah, and they
yes,
start talking and they start going lower in voice, and then I was like used to them all. And
So
then
they do this.
Yeah.
What?
That's vocal fry, and I hate it.
Vocal fry. Okay. That's a California thing or just an Americanized thing?
I think it's I don't know. I mean, I work in California, and so
So it could be.
yeah.
a Southern California thing. But yes, I do.
You're trying to do it.
But I do hear that a lot.
Oh my God. I'm
Yeah.
just now hearing it.
Yeah,
You're
now
freaking me
now
out.
when you pay attention, now you hear it everywhere, and then you're annoyed all the time.
Oh my gosh. Do
Yeah.
I do it?
No.
Oh my. But I say.
You
what do I-
weren't born in California.
I wasn't
I was
born-
born in California.
But I was practically born here.
But you weren't, because like when
Came
we
in here in
No, no,
diapers.
no. Listen, when you walk into her mom's house, it's like, mira, tú necesitas practicar su español. And I'm like, okay, sure. Then that's how I learned how to speak Spanish. And
That's
no one
cool.
knows. They're like, what? And I'm like, shh. No one knows.
It's true. It's one of those things where I have to warn people, and it's weird to say that because being bilingual, you understand, especially when you have like family that is que son como chismosos, like they like to talk a lot and
Yeah.
le gustan
But that's
hablar
the
mucho.
best.
So you're like, con cuidado. Entiende y habla el español, and they're like, oh, okay,
Pero-
like be on your best behavior.
But it's the best because people like look at me at least, and they're just like, she speaks English or whatever language where she's from. And so like when they are talking smack in Spanish, I'm like, or I'll giggle and they're like, oh, she understands. I'm like,
That's what I want to take my friend that's Vietnamese to a nail salon with me, just so I know what's
Oh,
happening. But I feel
yeah.
like I would never ever have my nails done if I do that. Just like that'll be
everybody.
that.
Here's the thing: the beauty of having to know and speak another language is you can say and be comfortable. I remember when we were somewhere with your mom, and your mom was straight talking smack, and I was like, everybody in here speaks Spanish, right?
My mom doesn't give an F. It's just like, okay, so we're sidetracking here. Let's keep it focused. So you're.
So yes, I speak Spanish.
So we went to that.
Well, I have a question actually.
Okay.
So, you said that you came over here when you were 16. What led you into sound?
That's a good question.
Okay, so I went to San Diego when I was 16, and then I used to play the drum set professionally.
All right.
Yes. So I thought in film, everybody wants to be a director, everybody wants to be a writer or a DP. So
It's true.
You're
Eh,
talking
I
to them
was-
right now.
I was like, okay, so I don't speak English well. I should like maybe, well, for that, I stay in high school until I finish, and then I applied to the university, and then I got in. So then my dad was like, you will be only there for 6 months. So I was like, okay, so if I'm only 6 months, I will pick a major that I enjoy and it's fun and it's difficult to study in Mexico. So I picked film school, and then I went to San Diego State. So they focus like on independent cinema. So
Okay.
they teach you everything in a way that you could do it by yourself. Because in other schools they teach you like, okay, you're a DP, you're learning how to be a DP, and that's all you learn.
Okay.
So in this one they teach you everything, but they not like studio level. It's more like independent.
Mhm.
And so I was like, well, I don't speak English, so I focus on editing or maybe a little bit of sound because I used to be a drummer, or I am a drummer, and I guess I understand how to connect XLR cables,
Okay.
to the mixer.
That makes sense. Okay.
So I guess I could like do that sometimes because nobody wants to do sound. Nobody wants to do sound.
I don't know that they don't want to. I think that they're not aware of it. Kind of like, I mean, it's not really emphasized on it. It's more like a touch of sound. Like maybe like if there's like a chorus.
She's got a point though, because I remember in film school it was the same thing. It was kind of like the not it.
So I'm saying it's like a touch of
yeah,
it.
but
though.
like
Right.
in my in my school, it was very emphasized. We even had a class about audio, and still nobody wanted to do
That's
it.
interesting. See, and most people that are in sound are DJs,
Yeah.
or musicians.
That's true.
So it makes sense as to why you pulled to it because like you
Yeah.
understand like the
The music.
music and the frequencies and all that kind of
Yeah,
jazz.
you understand that sound is important so people can hear
It's-
you.
It is one of the most
Yeah.
important things because it'll determine like whether or not it's professional or amateur or
Yeah. Yeah, and so I was there. So I was doing mostly editing, and then once in a while, they will say, "Oh, we need a sound person," and then I will be like, "Well, I guess I do it. I mean, nothing to lose."
Right.
And I think there were only like one or two other people that were doing sound,
Okay.
but they were not in my generation. So we were
okay.
like working each other's projects, and even some people brought the ones that graduated into a student project because there was nobody to do
To
sound.
do sound.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And then you came into the rescue.
So I just did it sometimes, and then people kept calling me, and then after I graduated, so at the end of my major, it ends up I was a good director and a good writer because I was forced to direct so I was forced to write, and then I pitch, and there's an advanced class for graduation. You have to the class has to pick 5 projects, and they picked 2 of mine, and then they won awards which came with money. Which
Nice.
one is the one from Caitlin Kennedy award because she went to San Diego State.
Nice.
So she gives like a certain amount of money per semester, and then you pitch, and there's a jury, and they give you the money if you win. So for my 2 projects, the 2 projects won that award, so they had to split the money.
Oh wow.
And
Congratulations.
and then I won the other one that is called Wally Award. That is a person that helps us, like he gives us a little bit of money and for films for that class in particular, which is the last one, the advanced class. And also my 2 films won, so they also had to split the money. So I ended up directing one, and the other one was an animation, which was done by another director, but also they both won some awards afterwards. So after that, I was like, oh, cool. So maybe I should be a director. But then I was like, I graduated like with honors.
Nice. Congratulations on
Summa
that
cum
too.
laude. Which I'm very proud because I don't speak English 100%. and so I graduated, and yeah, sure, I was unemployed, and I only had like 1 gig a month, and I was like, it was very stressful the last years at university, and I gained weight. I was very stressed, and then I went back to Mexico because I was so tired, and then the doctor saw me and in Mexico, and he was like, you know what, you need to pay attention to yourself. I'm like, okay. So I started working in a coffee shop, and for for some time, and then just like 1 gig a month, PAing or something.
Okay.
And then and then I started waitressing in a restaurant in San Diego. 1 day a week. But with 1 day a week, you make the money I will do in all the week in Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 day a week waitressing in San Diego was more money than 1 week being a barista in Mexico.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And anyways, you learn to value time, money,
Right.
effort,
Right.
Which
is rare. Not a lot of people.
after graduating,
Yeah.
From an American university,
Right.
And so I went back and blah, blah, blah. And then I was waitressing. And then Dylan, my friend Dylan Hirsch, which he also graduated from San Diego State, he was doing sound. He's only recommended me to do sound for this guy. And I was like, yeah, but I don't have equipment. And then this guy was like, oh, well, no worries. You know sound, right? I will rent it for you.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And this person was Samson Chan or Chain. I don't know how to pronounce it in English.
Okay.
But in Spanish, it's Samson Chan.
Okay.
And he works a lot for like NBC and the
Oh,
Olympics.
nice.
And he
So it's a good person to work with.
yeah, he's like up there, He's very good DP.
Okay.
So he moved from LA to San Diego, and he needed like help with some like things that he wanted to do, and like I was helping him like NIC and like and then audio and stuff. And I guess he liked how I worked. And then he was like, and at the same time I was working with other people, maybe doing sound, but with borrowed equipment or whatever. And then, but this in particular was important because he will be like, okay, you know how to do sound, right? Okay, I will rent it for you. We are going to do sound for the mayor tomorrow. And I will be like, okay. But I didn't have experience. And
Right.
I had I don't know. I wanted to do a good job.
Right.
So after a while, he was like, after a while with my waitressing job, I got some equipment.
Okay.
And then I was just recording important people with my cheap equipment. And then he will be like, you know what? You need better equipment. And I will be, yeah, but it's so expensive. And then he was like, you know what? I will buy you a recorder, any recorder you want, and you pay me back.
Wow, that's a nice opportunity.
Yeah, and I was like, really? And yeah. And then so I was like, okay, well, I will pick the cheapest recorder that is professional in a sense that I was like, the cheapest recorder that has time code.
Okay.
And with time code, you can do more stuff
Of course.
than other recorders.
But you recently got a new one, right?
Yes.
I saw that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I creeped on your wall. I saw that you got a new one.
Yeah, it's sound devices. So, but back then I picked that one, and then I paid him back, and then so that helped me for him to recommend me more, because now he knew I had something to record with.
Right.
And then like just getting more jobs around, and then because he just brought me in with high-end talent,
Right.
like Olympians.
Mhm.
Like the mayor, like right away. I think the first time I did audio for him, we did audio for like a gold medal winner, and like we did for the mayor. It was like for the beach games in San Diego, and so we did a lot of high like
Good stuff there.
good stuff there.
Yeah.
And that was like with not my best equipment, but I tried to do a good job, and it sounded fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you proved yourself, obviously.
I felt like he put me in the circumstance, like in the situation, and I had to be I was up to me to be up to that level. He put me in a high level right away, and it was up to me to take it and do a good job, or just be sloppy and like do a just act like I don't have experience or
Right. But
whatever.
you proved yourself.
I think so.
No, you did. I mean, look how far you've gone. You're
Yeah.
doing really great stuff right now.
Yeah. I'm doing good stuff. Like this week, I did audio for the Kentucky Derby for the NBC Sports. So I think it's the 45th anniversary or something soon, and they hired me to do it, and like I did sound for that.
That's awesome.
And this week, and then I think next week I'm like in 2 weeks I'm going to Ecuador for a documentary.
Never been.
I've never been either,
Okay.
and so it's very exciting. And yeah, so it's good jobs, good stuff, and a lot of good experiences, and like a lot of meeting a lot of different people.
Yeah.
So I don't get intimidated anymore by like like guys or whatever.
That's good. That's really good. So you've been doing it for some time. You said professionally for 4 years.
Yeah.
So obviously now you have an ear for it. Because I know that what I mean. Let me correct myself.
So punny, Alexa.
Haha, the pun. I got it. The reason why I say that is because like if I go to the movies and if Robin goes to the movies with me or whatnot, or if we're watching something, she'll be distracted immediately if she sees something that's off on the screen. Do you do the same thing when it comes to the sound? Like if you're like, oh, the sound quality is not so good.
Oh yeah.
Or so you could pick it up right away.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like.
Well, I'm just.
It's her profession.
I understand that, but I'm like, does it take you away from whatever you're watching?
Oh yeah.
100%.
Like in the film Roma, they had I don't, maybe it was just a situation the time I saw it.
Okay.
But I saw some synchronization problems. Like you hear something and the mouth is moving somewhere else. And
could that be an editing issue, or does that sound
syncing or ADR?
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah,
It's
there was something where I did see it where I could tell they cheated the shot because there was no movement, but there was someone talking, and I was like, ugh.
What happened?
Yeah, it takes you out of it.
It does, because like it's not that you mean to notice it; it's just something you're trained to notice because it's something that you see. It's like when I catch like a camera shadow, and I'm just like, oh,
Well, I gotta say that sound is extremely important, because we were talking about this. It's very important in production, because I talk to independent filmmakers where it's the last thing they think of sometimes. Like I had a discussion with someone, and I told them like, no, you need someone in sound, and they were thinking like, oh, I'll just get a microphone and and record it myself, and I was like, I have an H4n, I don't like using it. That's, I do it for like when I'm recording myself, like thinking, or like I want to have a note or whatnot. But if I want the quality to be up to par with what I'm trying to capture, you need to have good sound.
So, okay, a question I have, I guess, would be, like, there obviously with every specialized department, there's like you said, you picked the lowest quality of sound equipment, but that could still do time code. And then there's obviously there's the Ferrari of that.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't the worst equipment. It was the worst of the best. So the worst of the things.
That's what I mean.
Not in a bad connotation, but
right, of course.
The cheapest thing that was able
Still do the job.
to take a lot of channels and do time code.
Yes.
Because once a recorder does time code, then it's another level.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess the question would be is that, so when you compare the two, so let's say you compare your sound mixer from then to your sound mixer now, can it still accomplish the same quality of sound? Or does it depend on the sound mixer?
Well, I will say it's the one I have is better now, the sound devices.
Of course.
But the difference will be very, very small. Very, very slight, like minimal difference, but it's there. And like regular people won't notice it. But like a person that is hearing this, like an editor that is ingesting this sound, recordings from everybody, and let's say everybody did sound on the sound devices and somebody did sound in other like cheaper one, they will notice the difference. So you're not in trouble unless everybody else has good equipment, and if you're doing high level jobs, then they will notice, and it's just a very minimal difference.
But there's also it's also responsibility and the talent of the sound mixer, right? Because if I don't know squat about sound mixing, if I sat there and you gave me the device and gave me a quick, here's what you need to do, and you say just listen for this and make sure whatever, and if it's not my job and I'm not taking it serious, and I don't have pride in what I'm doing, and I don't have that understanding and respect towards the project, I'm just going to be like, whatever, right? So the quality is still not going to be so good because I didn't put my effort. So if you're sitting there, like you said, you made it this far because of not only the opportunity that was given to you, but also because you pride yourself and wanted to make sure that you did a good job.
Well, I always try to show that I care.
Right, and that's important.
And I have seen other sound mixers that
don't.
One time I had an experience when I was trying to learn sound. I was volunteering for a set here in LA. I came from San Diego only to volunteer.
Okay, wow.
And the guy was like so like he will put a mic. Like I didn't have experience. Obviously, I was in school, I think, or just graduated something. And I came to help him supposedly just as a learning experience. And he knew that I was coming. He was a professional sound mixer. He's older. He's old and stuff. So I came to help him, and he was like, "Bring me a coffee."
Oh no.
And I'm like, okay. And I will bring him a coffee, and like, next time don't put sugar in it.
Oh,
and I'm
wow.
like, okay. And like, oh, can I help you do this or that? No. Just observe. Or and like, okay. And then like he will mic the talent, and like the mic will fall off every time, every take. He had to come in and like fix it every time. And I'm like, well, I don't think he's doing a great job, but he's my boss. He knows more. He's very experienced. Whatever. I will respect him. But every single time, every single opportunity, he will tell me something that made me feel bad. Like every time, like he will be like, "Oh, can you bring me a ladder? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, maybe I should not ask you that. Oh, I don't want to be sexist. Blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "Oh my god!" And then he almost made me cry. I think I cried. Like
Jeez.
after that, I'm like, he's awful. So after that, I was like, I don't want to learn from another person. I would just learn by myself. But there's like people like my friend Dylan that he supported me. Like he just knew I knew it, how to do it. And he will like recommend me, and then I will do the job, and then they will like me. And then like, I will care about not making you feel uncomfortable.
Well, that's something that you learned then.
Yes, I try not to make people uncomfortable when I'm miking them, because there are some guys that get awkward, and then they just tell you put it yourself, which is fine.
Right.
But then you have more risk. If it's not an experienced person, then they will put it in a place that is not ideal for sound. Or like, it's good that I'm a girl because I feel like my kids and they hire me a lot for like Barbie or Hot Wheels and stuff like that. And it's also good for like, women like older or whatever, because they won't feel uncomfortable.
Right.
And for guys too, because I mean,
you're there to do your job.
I'm just there to do my job, and that's it. And
Right.
they joke with me and stuff sometimes, but I care about the job.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really important. And Robin works on set more than I do, because of what the difference in what we do. But I've come across two female sound mixers.
That's it. I know a bunch.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Male and female.
Well, that I've worked on set. It
Mhm.
was two that I've worked on set with.
Okay.
Me personally, everything else I've always come across male. Yeah.
I knew one. I just saw one. One time I was PAing for a show. I saw one, and she rented the equipment. So she didn't own the equipment. And yeah, that's the only one I know that is a girl. And then I have a bunch on Facebook that I know they are female sound mixers from other states.
Okay.
But I know there are more in LA, but it just happens that
I will give you
don't-
all my contacts. I will
Is
give
that
you
what you're doing right
all of
now?
my contacts for like every sound mixer that I know because we just need to lift everybody up.
Yeah.
So I just brought on I think it was Erin Fitzgerald. I had her on my last show.
Mhm.
And I always reach out to Destiny Farnat.
Oh,
I'm
God.
terrible with her last name.
Oh,
yeah,
my
I was gonna
gosh.
say we had her on.
I
We had
just-
her on
yeah,
Blackstone.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Ugh, 3.
Yeah, there's also
3.
Veronica Lopez. There's I can't even say Ava's last name, but like I also have some rock
wait,
star sound mixers
I'm-
that I always go to. So like I
I'm
have
sorry, Robin,
Roro.
Not to interrupt, but so you hire sound mixers?
So I usually will refer them to production,
Okay.
especially since like if I'm DPing and they're like, "Oh, we're looking for, a sound mixer," and I'm like, "Here's some names, done."
Right.
Like there's a handful of them, especially if I know what the rate is or I know what the show is or what the content is.
Mhm.
I kind of base it off of that, and I also base it off of their personality and obviously, like the people that I like, I try to like keep them working at just as much as I do because like that's just good juju. You know what I mean? Like that's why as soon as Alex was just like, I don't know very many, I'm like, girl, I got you. Like don't even worry. Like
That's what it's about.
yeah, because like there was a director that I just worked with and we shot like a couple episodes and something. And I was just like, if you need any sound mixers, let me know because the one sound mixer, there's like 2 in rotation. And now that they've changed companies and ownership,
Yeah.
I was like, I have some more. I can put them on your radar.
I can't believe that I forgot Destiny.
That's
but-
okay. The girl is busy all the time. Yeah. Her
'Cause,
and Blake.
we were on that shoot for how many days? Not that it was a lot, but she came on the first day,
Mhm.
and then there was some changes. But
Well, she was busy.
yeah,
Like I said, everyone is always busy. It's a good thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, we had like I think I had like a rotation of people, but I mean that's what you do is like you just get to know people and you like their personalities, you like the way they work, they're comfortable, they're friendly, whatever it may be, whatever you like in that person, you just always want to bring them around or at least like throw their name in the pot.
I'm very quiet
And that's okay. That's good.
on
same.
set.
Yeah.
On set, okay.
I mean, sound usually is. You guys are usually sound mixers are usually in like the darkest corner, closest like it's always like sound and camera are fighting for like the closest spot to be because camera's like I don't want to be very far because we have to build a camera or get something from the carts and sound mixers are usually right in that little pocket of darkness. It's like where are they? But you always know where they are. So, it's kind of fun.
What's something that's fun that you like working on as far as genre? Is there a difference, do you think, in the sound? Because I would be scared to do like a horror movie because there's a lot of screaming or loud sounds.
No, but they check their levels.
I know, but still. So is there a certain genre that you prefer than when it comes to the sound than others?
That's a good question.
Is it? Because you kind of made a face. Or
Or
does it
I
not
don't
make a
think so.
difference?
No, I don't think it makes a difference.
No?
I mean, people, if they're doing comedy, they might scream. If they are doing horror, they might scream too.
Well, I would hope.
Okay,
so.
so see, my question would be similar but different. It would be
Oh.
like, so the sound mixer always knows what everyone is saying.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
So I'd be like,
Because
oh,
they leave the mics on, right? So you
well, they don't have to.
Have you ever come across that where the person forgets to turn off the mic, or
Well, they're
leave
not supposed to. The sound mixer does.
Okay.
No, I mean, yeah.
Because you hear interesting stuff, I'm sure.
I don't know.
I mean, you don't have to tell us what you hear, but you hear interesting stuff.
I rather just rest my ears
Okay.
because when you get home, you're like it's just like if you went to a concert or something.
I
Oof.
never thought
So
about that.
if I'm not
Gosh.
recording or checking if the clothing is doing any noise or something, then I don't want to hear.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like I should just turn
That's
them
so
off.
funny.
That's
Yeah.
I always go to the sound mixer. I'm like, so what's the cheese? Like, what's going on?
No, what
Who's
happened?
arguing?
One time it happened that some people were talking not good about other
Ooh,
people.
yeah,
but,
that's not good.
But it was crew about other crew members.
okay.
And
Wait, you can
and
hear
I
that?
I was with them
Probably a boom.
and I
Uh,
had the boom on and I was recording.
Oh,
And- because I was with them.
She just snorted.
I totally.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking like if they're scrubbing through this footage or the sound, they're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why
Some people
not good.
talking about other people, and these other people, what they were. They will hear this.
Oh,
But so what I did,
gosh.
because I have a background in editing, because
Uh-huh.
I did editing too.
Okay, so you got rid of that.
Oh, then I built my gear with editing. I did like 1 year of full editing in San Diego. So because I learned that, then I just took the file, chopped that off.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the ending.
Okay.
I chopped the ending and kept the time code, everything. And
But
then
if it was in the middle,
and I just put
no.
it in again, and then I gave the sound.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smart. Because
Because you don't want to like risk anybody's jobs.
That's
just
good.
just because.
you do care.
Yeah, I care. So I care about both ends. I care about the talent, and I care about the crew.
So you're definitely someone to have on side.
Yeah, but I'm very quiet.
I'm just saying.
There's
I'm
not
just saying. Anyone that's listening, seriously, you have to hire her because, as you can hear, she cares a lot, and that's important. And you care about
Yeah.
your job, and you care about the other people within that are working in your surroundings.
Yeah.
You know, that's
For
important.
sure.
That's
I always try to like be, cooperating with camera and like DPs and like the camera assistants, very important. So I can like give the time code, give the time code bongs, this late. Make sure wardrobe that they're wearing things that are not noisy.
right.
Yeah.
Or
Definitely.
or if I put it somewhere and they tell me, oh, I see that I would like not to see that bump in the clothing. Oh yeah, let me fix that. Like, so I make sure I'm okay with like the clothing, the camera assistants, and the second camera assistant.
Okay.
What else?
The second AC.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what Robin does.
Union second AC. I'm always best friends with sound. So like my little AC hack is I'm always best friends with Crafty because camera never gets to go to Crafty. We never leave the camera.
For food.
Yeah, or
snacks.
anything.
Snacks,
Like
gotcha.
we literally run to the restroom.
Ugh.
And then I'm always
10-1.
best friends with or 10-2. But or and sound. Because like
Yeah.
whoever the boom operator is, like we become best friends on set
Yeah.
because
that's what I was gonna say because there's always like I've seen it in a couple.
And also the scripty. Let's
Yeah.
not forget
Yeah,
the
yeah,
scripty.
the
we all work together. So like
Yeah.
Scripty will either tell sound or tell second AC like what's up on the slate, and then we usually already know, but we don't want to assume because it just depends on like
Yeah.
what they have.
If you have good communication between
Yes.
the scripty and the second AC and sound, it's
Mhm.
good.
You're golden. That's
Yeah.
my favorite, especially like on a
Yeah, and especially
feature.
for
Yeah.
for editing, because then you give everything organized to the
Mhm.
editor. But sometimes in new sets and new people, they don't know that,
Mhm.
and they just like don't care.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
You would love me, and I would
I-
love you on
yeah,
set because
like
I'm very particular.
I put whatever the
the AC has
the
on the
AC
slate,
has on the slate. So I
which
tell
usually comes from the Scripty.
yes, and we were, I think in one short film I did, we were off
Oh, bummer.
for some reason.
Yeah.
And as soon as I catch it, I went to the scripting.
Yeah. So she
And
made a
then
note.
and then we wanted to fix the situation right there and
Mm.
then before going to more takes
Correct.
and be
Right.
all messy for the editor.
Mhm.
Right.
It wasn't a single person fault. It was
Mm.
a weird scene. They were
Probably added something or
it was a situation. So I hold for sound in that particular set. I never hold for sound.
Mhm.
Everything was sharp, good. But this time I did hold for sound, and everybody was upset. And I'm like, well, not everybody, but the director and like stuff. And I'm like, that's where you know it's a new director.
Mm.
Because then if you don't have everything organized, there
It's gonna be a mess
it
afterwards.
will be a mess, and then they will be annoyed, and
Mhm.
like it will take maybe days to find this particular
Clip.
soundtrack for this particular take of
Mhm.
this particular scene in this particular like sequence, and like it just takes a while. And if you know you can fix it right there for just 1 minute or two to fix it there, then you save like a lot of money.
Right.
And
No,
that's
that makes
what's
Yeah,
sense.
just let the people do their jobs instead of trying to hurry everybody up just because you want to take now.
Right.
And that exactly, that's when you know a new director is a new director.
Yeah, and sometimes that
Mhm.
doesn't boil down just to the director. Sometimes it's the AD, sometimes it's production because like time is money. And definitely if you take the time to do it on set the correct way, like all these intricate departments rely on each other. So like it's always interesting that like there's like sometimes people don't get along. I'm just like we're all one team. Like we're all striving for the same end goal.
Mhm.
Period. And
Mhm.
that's the beauty of what she just demonstrated
Mhm.
is that like no one like a normie or a civilian is what we call them outside the industry that doesn't work in the industry. It's like they didn't realize that sound, script supervisor, and the second AC are so intricately involved.
Mhm.
Mhm.
There's this underlining communication between these three departments, and who would have known? Do you
Right.
know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like
No,
it's
that's
quite
true.
it's quite interesting, and like everyone is always excited to slap
Mhm.
the slate. They're like, "Can I do it?" And I'm like, "Yes, but just like you don't soft sticks. Like you don't
Mhm.
need to,
Mhm.
like people are like, I'm gonna open this up and I'm gonna," and I was like, "Oh, the poor boom operator." I was like, "Oh."
Yeah,
So
people are always excited about that. Taking
I don't know
pictures
what it
with
is. I
it,
don't know what it
posing
is.
with it, taking pictures of the
I
slate.
mean, just saying, like, it's like I love that job. I love second ACing.
So what? Because that brings a good point.
Which I'm gonna go 10-1, so just ignore me. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine.
I lots of liquid.
Well,
Okay.
you run a marathon. I'm
Yeah.
assuming you drank a lot of
A
water
ton.
after.
a
Yeah.
ton. Okay,
No,
so
you're gonna have to
I
hold it for 20 minutes.
no, that's bad for you. Don't hold it. Don't hold it.
So okay, what advice would you give to someone that?
Wait. I will keep her mic on so I
Oh,
hear
yeah.
what happens in the bathroom.
No one wants to hear that.
Actually, I just turned it off.
Okay.
Okay. So, what advice would you give for someone that's new, getting into this industry, doing sound, or just advice in general? Because you kind of did that with explaining that story of how that communication was key,
Mhm.
and also the caring part. If someone were to come to you and say, w- "What can you share with me so I learn?"
Mhm.
So I can do better or do good. What's something that you would say to them?
Well, one thing is learn not to be afraid. So if you need to like stop something
Mm-hmm.
because let's say you only have a lavalier, you're starting, you only bought a lavalier,
Mhm.
and you put it on the clothes, and it's noisy, and it's not usable, but you don't want to say anything because you're nervous they will be angry at you.
Mm.
Those kind of things, because it happened to me at the beginning. I mean, not that I was doing, I mean, not that I did that, but there
Mhm.
were situations where I had the boom and the lavalier, and the boom was great, the lavalier was not so good, but I was like, okay, we have the boom, it's fine. But depending on the gig, like if it's like they just won a championship and it's just one take, I'm not going to tell them, oh, can you repeat that? Let me fix your mic.
Right.
No. I mean, if I have it in a mic and then it's safe, if I cover your content and it's good quality, I won't say anything. But if it's like a short film, and it's just a thing where it's easy fix,
Mhm.
and it will be 100 times better.
Mhm.
Definitely say something.
Right.
Just like hold for sound, or let me fix that, or if it's an interview, just in each question then go and adjust the mic,
Mhm.
or things. Don't be afraid to go and do it.
Right.
Like it has happened to me in many interviews that yeah, I have the boom, it's great, the lab is great, but maybe sometimes that necklace is noisy. And it's just, if I just put a little tape on the back of the necklace, it will be, that lavalier will be useful.
That's good.
But if I'm afraid, no, I don't want to bother, like this, I don't know, a famous actress. I don't want to bother her. No,
Right.
don't be afraid. If somebody's asking a question to this person, to this celebrity, to this athlete, using the question, just go and adjust it.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid, and then your job will be like 100 times better and better for the editor and more options and stuff.
That's good.
And yeah, and then to put the boom like super close to the mouth if you can.
Okay.
Don't be afraid of that, because in movies they always show the boom like behind the scenes. They show the boom like it's way up there, and that's not true. That's not how it works.
Do you hear a high pitched sound, or is that just me?
It's just you.
It's just you.
Anyways, yeah, no, that's true. And I usually work with if I'm operating, I usually will give frame lines to the boom operator.
Yeah, you have
just
to
work together.
Yeah, and this DP Samson, he told me, don't be afraid, just put it as close as you can. And sometimes I'm like, I feel it's right on the forehead, but depending on the angle of the camera, you don't see it,
Right.
Mhm.
and then it sounds way better.
Yeah.
And then I'm okay. I don't have to be afraid. And many camera people think the boom has to be like 3 feet above of the like.
I
They
don't know. I
they
don't
ask you for the can you raise the boom, because they might move, And like, it's an interview. You're not, like on sticks. Like
That's
they
weird.
won't move.
I've
you know?
never ever said that. I'm like, let's get it as close as
Yeah,
possible,
yeah.
and I
But
give you
some
frame
people
lines.
they just want like a lot of space, and like
Oh.
no, that's not how it works.
That's
See, I
interesting.
came up through television, and I learned to light with the thought of sound because they were
Oh,
on.
yeah, 'cause you don't want shadows.
Mhm.
Shadows. There it goes. Sorry. I'm just
No,
like,
no,
I sounded
no,
really far.
not shadows. I mean
Oh,
that too, but
okay.
also like giving, because it was television. It was rules of engagement. So I learned the light, 360 like on the stage, but then also having them to have enough room, because they would like they're sitting. I don't know what the technical
What
term
is that?
There, it looks like a fishing pole. It looks like
Mhm.
a fishing pole, and it's sound.
Oh.
So, they would like, they would bring the boom out, and so they don't mic because the boom is cleaner, correct? It's
mhm.
a cleaner sound.
I mean, if you have a studio with those benefits, great.
Yeah.
But usually, what I do is not that. Usually, it's like like the other day, I had to mic Bob Buffer on a horse on the beach.
Oh wow.
and
On a beach.
on the
On top
beach,
of that. So
windy.
that's a lot of
On top of a horse.
Well,
So and he was talking
that's challenging.
to Mike Smith, which is the jockey. So they were on the beach, so windy and blah blah blah. So those kind of things, yeah, it's tricky because they are moving a lot on top of a horse. It's not up to them. The movement is not up to them. It's windy and there is ocean,
Yeah.
And
but it looks really pretty, guys. ADR.
I know.
ADR.
I know. It's weird because when I write, learning that, and I want to get something in the beach, I try to do it where it's going to be MOS for that reason, because I know the sound. I just a quick cut or something, or I don't know. I try to get creative with what I write if I'm going to use like a beach scene. Does that make sense? Because I just don't want to.
ADR.
I know.
I've noticed a trend of that too. It's really kind of interesting, and I actually wanted to ask you, since you're a sound person. So I don't know if you've had this experience yet, but like on some of these short films, like there's dialogue, but they're straight. They don't want to stop for sound. They just are recording it as if it was like a scratch mic, and they're just gonna ADR the entire film. And I was like, whoa.
Is that a thing?
It has been
for
a trend.
some people.
Yeah, it
I
has
have
been
seen
a trend. Mm-hmm. So what are your thoughts and feelings on that?
Well, I think like people should do it as best as they can in the first opportunity they have.
Yeah, that's like we'll take care of it in post. Isn't that the same thing?
I mean, it depends what it is. I mean, if it's something, yes, you have to take care in post. Okay, yes.
Right.
But if you don't have to, then just
right. Why plan it that
yeah.
way? That's
Yeah.
interesting. So
Because
that's
if
a trend?
they know, it's not a trend. It just did. I've noticed it like recently happening. So I noticed that sometimes it's a sacrifice for the location.
Okay.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
they don't want to stop, or they just don't want to stop, and
Mhm.
they've gotten a contingency that they're going to just ADR it. But I was just like, I wonder how that makes you feel as a sound person, because like you're there as a sound person to do your job, and you
Mhm.
can't capture the best quality of sound because
Well, my job is to do the best job I can in the circumstances I have.
correct.
So if it's like a train is passing every 5 minutes and they don't want that train sound, and we cannot stop every 5 minutes, I mean, I will still record the best I can.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's up to them to decide if they want to keep it or not. And that's out of me. Like that, I let's say, it's not that I don't care, but it's like that's another job.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
that's another.
But
That's like post production. Like that's another thing.
But that's a great point that you said, is that you're there to do the best job that you can in the circumstances that you have,
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
which
Because
is true.
yeah, because sometimes let's say there's a dog barking or something, and it's annoying and it's grabbing attention, because some noises are not distracting, some are, depending. But if it's something that I know they can live with,
Mhm.
I'm not going to interrupt, because I know time is valuable.
Now, I was just, you're saying this, and I just remember I saw this movie once. It was a short film. It was at a film festival,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone was raving about it. I enjoyed it too, but there was one part of it that I will never forget, obviously, because I'm mentioning it now. You know how you do a room tone, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know if this was room tone or if they just got, you know how you can download audio to get
Yeah.
the sound, whatever. So I don't know if that's what they did. I feel like it was room tone per se, but it was a pretty lengthy scene outdoor,
Mm-hmm.
and you could tell that I think they ADR'd the audio between the two actors, because you kept hearing a kid every 5 seconds say hi, like that. Like they were in a park playing and stuff like that. So every 5 seconds, I want to say, it was just like a really low hi, and I was like, hi, and I was watching the film and I kept doing this, and every time I do that, you hear the hi, hi, and I was just, so if you were to be the sound person, and if it was this room tone, would you stop and redo that again if you were to capture someone speaking or something? Because it was at a park. It was I feel like they were trying to get the room tone of a park, and maybe they didn't realize that there was a kid saying hello.
They would have to. That doesn't make any sense.
The whole thing that stuck out to me.
Hmm.
I don't know if you remember. 'Cause I
Well,
thought
it's like one thing is like for sound mixers, like everything you do, then it's up to the
the post.
people,
Yeah.
you know, because like the
Why
other
would
day,
you loop that?
the other day I did sound
Mm-hmm.
for, I don't know if I should say, but well, anyways,
Something.
Unnamed.
Yeah.
something. It was rainy, so these are football players, and I have them laugh, but they're wearing, it's raining, so they have a lot of layers and stuff. So I
Okay.
know the lavalier is not going to be great because I have to hide it.
Right.
And so I put the 2 shotguns, right?
Okay.
One for each person, because they are talking to each other, one in front of the other.
Okay.
So one boom is kind of pointing towards the rain, one boom is pointing
Okay.
towards the tent.
Okay.
So as an editor, I know it should be fine, because even if they cut the questions, as long as they keep both channels open,
You're gonna
Mhm.
have that.
it will be rainy, but the voices will be clear.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, okay, so then I get a call a day after from the DP saying, "Why does it sound like that?" So you see the interview online, and it was going to
It
air
was
on
cutting
TV.
from channel 1 to channel 2.
It was going to cut. It was going to show on TV national
Oh,
next
no.
day, and it was like rainy, and then like silent, and then rainy
Oh,
and silent.
no.
I'm like,
So whoever cut it,
yeah,
didn't.
whoever cut it did a bad job, you know. And I'm like, they were like, "Is this your fault?" And I'm like, "No, this is a bad editing job."
Correct.
And they were like, "Okay." So they called people, blah blah blah, and I guess they corrected it before airing.
Oh,
Mhm.
good.
But then it's like, okay, I did the best I can.
Yeah.
I-
Absolutely.
in the circumstances I had. So,
But the turnarounds are
Yeah.
so fast, so sometimes they overlook that kind of stuff.
So
but
does-
the thing is, like, that's dumb, because it's more work to mute one channel
yeah.
and mute the other than just to cut both channels together.
I
It's
agree.
just
True. That's
No,
that
true.
no,
that's
agree.
I feel like that was a student that didn't know, and like,
Mm.
it happens, but it should not happen for a nationwide thing.
No, it shouldn't. You would think.
You know.
So we gotta wrap things up here.
Okay.
Why don't you tell them quickly where people can find you, social media, whatnot, website?
Yes. What is that IG? handle?
Just my Instagram,
Okay.
Alexandra Parral, Parral.
Perfect. So that's where you can find her?
Yeah, and then my Facebook. I have a public Facebook that I never use.
So we'll stick to the IG. Do you have a website?
No.
Okay.
Every job I get for recommendation. And I wanted to mention my friend Manuel Lopez Cano and my friend Danielle Molina, which are very supportive to me in
so
LA.
Thank you to them.
Thank you.
Because that's actually how I met you. So we'll wrap this up. Thank you so much for being our guest today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Robin, thanks for being here as always. Everyone have a safe and happy Sunday.
Yes.
You're listening to Female Filmmakers Fuse with Alexa Polar and Robin Pabello, only on LA Talk Radio.